Hi, Grandma. I heard that you had some questions on one of the chapters that we're reading for class, and I'll be happy to answer those for you as best as I can. And the first question that you had was what are platelets and what do they do for us? So, as far as I know from what I read from the book, platelets are circulating fragments of larger cells called megakaryocytes. And since you're a visual learner, let me show you a picture of what a platelet looks like. And this is what it looks like. These are red blood cells, and the ones with the arrows are the platelets, which are very small, and these cells originate from the bone marrow, and they're stimulated by the hormone thrombopoietin, and they're mainly produced by the liver and the kidneys. And they're very small, these platelets. They're usually 20% smaller than red blood cells. And let me show you like another picture of how small these, so you can grasp the idea of how small these platelets are. And in comparison with the red blood cells, as you can see, this is a better picture. The red blood cells and the platelets are, as the book said, 20% smaller than 20% in diameter of the red blood cells. And the platelets are, the first response is vascular injury. So that means is whenever you cut yourself, they're the first ones to respond. They go straight to the injury point and they form a clot. So this is usually what happens. You have a blood vessel like this, and you have the blood flowing with the platelets, and it starts forming like a little clot with the fibers, and it starts forming a little clump until it stops the bleeding. So the cutting occurs, you have adhesion, molecules bind cells to cells or cells to connective tissue, and then activation, and finally the aggregation of platelets. And I think I have another picture here that I can show you. And it says that platelets work by clumping and damaged areas of blood vessels. You see? And not only platelets, but blood also clumps and it makes a little clot and the bleeding stops. And usually it takes around 7 minutes for the bleeding to stop, like if you hold it like that with a gauze. Okay, and then the next question that you had was that you had read something about bradykinin and what does it do. So bradykinin is a 9 amino acid peptide, and it comes from the liver produced circulating protein. So it comes from the liver, and this is where the liver is located in your body. You have your stomach here with the intestines, and the liver's right there. So bradykinin causes vasodilation, and it causes your blood pressure to go down, and more exudation and swelling also. So an example of bradykinin could be the medication ACE inhibitors, or the one that you take, enalapril, lisinopril. Remember when I took your blood pressure, you were freaking out and they had to give you lisinopril. So that's an example of an ACE inhibitor. Just think of bradykinin, like bradycardia, brady slow, so it's gonna lower your blood pressure. Just etymologies, like we usually do talk about it during dinner. And another question that you also had was, what are ACE inhibitors and if you can take blood thinners? Well, I think I kind of answered already what are ACE inhibitors, which is an example would be lisinopril and allopril, and they usually lower your blood pressure, which are the medications that you take and mom takes too. And about the blood thinners, I'm not sure if you can take them. I don't see why not, but if I were you, I would certainly just go ask the doctor. And I'm certainly not a doctor. I wouldn't want to give you bad advice, but for sure, go in and ask your doctor. And one of the other questions that you were asking was what is nitric oxide and what does it do? So a lot of people confuse nitric oxide with the laughing gas or nitrous oxide. So I have a little picture here so you can laugh. That the best part about the dentist is the laughing gas, but it's not the nitrous oxide. Just remember that nitric oxide is not nitrous oxide, and it's not the one that they use at the dentist. And also, it's not nitro, the one that they use for fuel in race cars. So yeah, it's not this one that Vin Diesel uses right here. So nitric oxide is a molecule, and it's a potent vasodilator, and that it's used to treat angina. I'm sorry, and if you do recall, Grandpa used to use it to treat his angina problem back in the day to lower his arterial blood pressure and reduce left ventricular pressure. So a lot of people do get confused with the laughing gas or the fuel, but in reality, it is not that. It's just the nitric oxide. And I hope I was able to answer your questions. And if you do have any more questions, don't hesitate to call me. And hopefully you'll find the information really interesting. And I hope we can chat some more time later. And thanks for the talk, Grandma. Miss you.